Today our lesson is on adding mixed numbers, both with like denominators and with unlike denominators, and checking that the answer is reasonable using estimation. So we're going to start with a story. After the class pizza party, not our class pizza party, but some random one, there were 1 5/6 cheese pizzas left, and 1 5/6 meat pizzas left. How many pizzas were left over in total? In order to figure this out, we need to add mixed numbers. There's a few different ways that we can do this. We can separate our mixed numbers out. So this is the same as adding 1 plus 1 plus 5/6 plus 5/6. Using the skills that we've learned in dealing with like denominators and pattern blocks, we can draw this out using pattern blocks. We can write a addition statement. So let's try pattern blocks. We have 2 whole pattern blocks, and then we have 2 where we've got 5/6. So we can take this little green triangle and put it in here. So that makes this one whole, and this one have just 4 of the green pattern blocks. And then we can count 1 whole, 2 whole, 3 whole, and 4 out of a possible 6 pieces. So we have 3 and 4, 6. Of course, we have to make sure that this is in lowest terms, so we can look at this and see, is 4 indivisible by the same number? It's divisible by 2. Whatever we do to the top, we do to the bottom. So now we have 3 and 2/3. So there are 3 and 2/3 of a pizza left. We can also do this using an addition statement. So we've got 1 plus 1 plus 5/6 plus 5/6. If we write this as an addition statement, we've still got 1 plus 1 plus 5 plus 5 over 6, which we can put these together and have 2 plus 10 over 6. We need to take this. This is an improper fraction, so now we need to write this as a mixed number. We can take, with 10 pieces, we can take 6 out of 6 out, and that equals 1 whole. So that's going to add to our 2 to equal 3. And then we will have 4 out of 6 left. 6 plus 4 equals 10. So we have 3 and 4/6. Again, we divide the top and the bottom by 2, and we get to 3 and 2/3. Now we need to estimate and make sure that our answer is approximately correct. So we can do this by looking at our original numbers. 1 5/6 is pretty close to 2. 1 5/6, which is the exact same number, is pretty close to 2. So we're looking for an answer that's going to be close to 4. When we look at our answer of 3 and 2/3, that's fairly close to 4, so we know that our answer is reasonable. I want you to pause the video and copy down these notes. The steps don't really change much if we're adding mixed numbers with unlike denominators, except that we have to move those unlike denominators into like denominators because we need to be dealing with the same size of piece when we're adding them. So let's take apple pies. We have 1 1/2 apple pies and 2 1/3. I'm going to call them blueberry pies. How many pies do we have in total? Like before, we can do this using pattern blocks. When we look at our picture, we've got 3 whole pattern blocks, and then we have a half pattern block and a third pattern block. Now our pieces are different sizes, so we can't just say that we have 2 pieces. We need to turn this into a common denominator. And we can replace both of these by the green pattern blocks. So if we look at this now, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green pattern blocks. So our answer is 3 and 5 out of 6. And I got 6 because it takes 6 green pattern blocks to make up one of our holes, which are the yellow pattern blocks. We can do this as well by using the addition statement. So 1 and 1/2 plus 2 and 1/3. We can write 1 plus 2. We're going to put our holes together. Then we're going to look at our fractions. Plus 1/2 plus 1/3. We need to find a common denominator. And when we look at 2 and 3, we know that we can find a common multiple of 6. So to get to 6 from 2, we do 2 times 3 equals 6. Whatever we do to the bottom, we need to do the top. 1 times 3 equals 3. So 1/2 is equivalent to 3/6. 3, in order to get to 6, we need to multiply that by 2. Again, whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. 1 times 2 equals 2. So 1/3 is equivalent to 2/6. And we can carry our holes down because it doesn't really matter how many pieces are in the hole when you know you have all of the pieces. So we have now 1 plus 2 equals 3 holes, and 3 plus 2 over 6, which equals 3 and 5/6. As always, we need to check and make sure that this is in lowest terms. So we look at the factors of 5 and the factors of 6. 6 and 5, the only number that they're both divisible by is 1, which isn't going to change our answer. So we know that this is in lowest terms. But we need to check through estimation. So 1 1/2, we can round that up to 2. 2 1/3 is closer to 2 than it is to 3. And 2 plus 2 equals 4. So we're looking for an answer that is about 4. When we look at 3 and 5/6, 3 and 5/6 is very close to 4. Now pause the video and copy down these notes. Here are the key ideas for this lesson. When you're adding mixed numbers with like denominators, you add the whole numbers and then the fractions. If when you add the fractions you end up with an improper fraction where the numerator is larger than the denominator, convert it into a mixed number before adding it to the total. When you're adding mixed numbers with unlike denominators, you do the same basic steps, but before you need to change the fractions into ones that have a common denominator. When you've done that, add the whole numbers, add the fractions, convert any improper fractions if necessary. Always remember to write your answer in lowest terms, and in order to check your answer, compare it to an estimate. Copy this down and do your communicate the ideas, please.